A solitary rider drifts into the dusty settlement of Lego, and from that instant, nothing remains the same. High Plains Drifter is far more than an ordinary Western. It is an unsettling tale that weaves mystery, supernatural hints, and layered allegory into a motion picture that continues to disturb viewers even now. Helmed by Clint Eastwood, it transforms the recognizable landscape of frontier chaos into something darker and deeply symbolic. From hidden visual tributes to production conflicts and revelations that even drew criticism from John Wayne, the film conceals depths that many viewers never fully recognize. First, the enigmatic stranger. The narrative begins with a reserved figure who appears to be just another gunman entering town, yet subtle signals imply something far more profound. When the camera pauses on the grave of Marshal Jim Duncan, the stranger's link to that unmarked burial site becomes difficult to dismiss. It feels as though he carries knowledge only the slain lawman would possess, and every move he makes suggests unresolved purpose. As events unfold, his presence seems less accidental and more like justice returning to Lego in human form. His movements, tone, and responses toward those who once silently observed the marshal's brutal beating create a disturbing impression that he is no typical drifter. Some viewers believe he is Duncan reborn to exact vengeance, while others interpret him as a manifestation of retribution wearing a recognizable face. The ambiguity is intentional, sustaining discussion for decades. The grave, the stranger, and the quiet tension between them remain one of the film's most haunting mysteries. Next, the dream of the whipping. Early in the story, a disturbing dream sequence appears, unlike anything customary in classic westerns. As the stranger lies in bed, visions of a marshal's public punishment overtake the screen. The imagery is filtered through a misty, nightmare-like perspective, capturing the chilling stillness of townspeople who watch passively. Their silence feels heavier than the violence itself, embedding a persistent sense of guilt throughout the narrative. This sequence is more than recollection. It underscores the stranger's unavoidable and intimate connection to Lego. The visual language puts the townsfolk on trial alongside the criminals, implying that those who stand idle share responsibility for suffering. For the audience, the scene dissolves the boundary between memory and hallucination. Is he reliving his own anguish, recalling the demise of someone he knew, or revealing the shared guilt of an entire town? However one interprets it, the dream prevents the film from becoming a straightforward revenge story, turning it instead into a somber allegory about silence and complicity. Then, the casting of the stunt double. At times, minor casting decisions carry major implications. The fallen marshal was portrayed not by a conventional actor, but by Buddy Van Horn, Eastwood's longtime stunt double. This nuanced choice introduced hidden symbolism because Van Horn was recognized as Eastwood's physical stand-in on numerous productions. By assigning his double the role of Marshal Duncan, Eastwood crafted a visual parallel between the stranger and the man beneath the grave marker. It was more than smart casting. It subtly hinted that the stranger and Duncan might be intertwined, perhaps even the same being. The resemblance, paired with Eastwood's screen presence, kept audiences questioning who truly walked through Lego. For Van Horn, it was another instance of reinforcing Eastwood's vision from the background, though here his appearance deepened the mystery for attentive fans. Whether consciously noticed or not, the decision reinforced the theme of the past haunting the present. Moving to the production conflict with Universal. The film's eerie strength lies not solely in its narrative, but in its setting. Universal initially preferred filming on their studio backlit to cut costs, yet Eastwood insisted otherwise. He believed the story required a location that felt isolated, bleak, and unsettling, something impossible to replicate with painted scenery. His persistence led the production to Mono Lake in California, known for its jagged formations and otherworldly starkness. The disagreement was significant. The studio worried about expenses and logistics, but Eastwood's resolve prevailed. The haunting landscape became as crucial as any character. When the stranger arrives, the terrain itself seems to harbor secrets. Lego appears remote and exposed, intensifying the notion that its inhabitants cannot escape the repercussions of their silence. By securing this location, Eastwood shaped the film's entire mood. Without Mono Lake's desolate beauty, the film might have resembled a conventional Western rather than the chilling experience it became. Consider also the moment when the town is painted red. Few visuals are as unforgettable as Lego drenched in crimson. To achieve this effect, the crew reportedly used 380 gallons of paint to coat the structures completely. What might have seemed a stylistic flourish evolved into a powerful metaphor. The transformation unsettled not only audiences but characters within the story. As the stranger commands the townspeople to repaint homes, businesses, and even the church, Lego becomes a physical emblem of guilt. The red hue suggests the burden of what they permitted to happen to Marshall Duncan, a stain that cannot be cleansed. The act converts the town into a theater of reckoning. It is not merely preparation for conflict, but a forced confrontation with complicity. Against Mono Lake's barren landscape, the red buildings create an image that lingers in cinematic memory, marking the moment guilt becomes part of the environment itself. As the narrative concludes, the stranger's departure stands among its most haunting scenes. After retribution is carried out and Lego is left in flames, he rides into the shimmering heat of the desert. The camera lingers as his outline wavers and fades until he resembles a mirage dissolving into the horizon. This image was deliberate, designed to leave viewers uncertain whether he was human or something beyond. Heat distortions render him spectral, as if the land reclaims him once his task is fulfilled. He appears, judges, and vanishes, leaving only unanswered questions. Was he Duncan's spirit seeking justice, or a darker embodiment of punishment? The uncertainty ensures the film lingers in memory long after its ending. Throughout the story, Morai, the town's marginalized dwarf, is elevated unexpectedly to sheriff and mayor. Rather than mockery, this elevation serves as contrast. While others are treated with scorn, Morai receives uncommon respect. The stranger recognizes in him integrity absent in Lego's supposed leaders. By reversing the hierarchy, he rewards character over cowardice, reinforcing the moral inversion at the heart of the tale. In another quiet moment, the stranger leaves blankets for a displaced Native American family, extending compassion to those uninvolved in the town's guilt. While Lego's residents face judgment, the innocent receive dignity. This contrast underscores the moral core beneath the stranger's severity. Guilt belongs to those who remained silent, not to the powerless. The film's thematic roots also draw from real-world tragedy, notably the 1964 Kitty Genovese case, where bystanders failed to intervene during an attack. The townspeople's inaction mirrors that event, reinforcing the allegory of collective responsibility. Biblical undertones frame the stranger as an agent of judgment, punishing not only wrongdoers, but also the passive. Production choices further deepened authenticity. The entire town was constructed at Mono Lake with 14 functional buildings, allowing immersive camera movement and lending weight to its fiery destruction. Filmed largely in sequence and completed under budget, the project demonstrated disciplined efficiency, with even editing conducted on location. Hidden tributes to Sergio Leone and Don Siegel appear on tombstones, acknowledging Eastwood's mentors. Script revisions shifted the narrative from a traditional Western to a symbolic, surreal fable. John Wayne criticized the film for tarnishing Western ideals, highlighting a generational divide between classical heroism and revisionist realism. By blending Western conventions with horror-like elements and moral ambiguity, the film reshaped the genre. The stranger's cruelty challenges notions of heroism, while moments like surviving an ambush and flinching at a whip crack deepen the supernatural mystery. Interpretations vary: ghost, devil, avenger, or embodiment of conscience. International versions even alter dialogue to imply he was Duncan's brother, softening ambiguity. Mono Lake's landscape functions as a silent character, reinforcing isolation and judgment. Over time, the film evolved into a cult classic, earning box office success and strong critical regard, influencing later filmmakers and artists, including musicians who paid homage through song titles. Its legacy extends beyond cinema into broader cultural reflections on silence, guilt, and reckoning. High Plains Drifter endures not simply as a Western, but as a meditation on responsibility and consequence. Through symbolism, haunting imagery, and unanswered questions, it compels viewers to reflect on whether justice targets only the wicked or also those who remain silent. That enduring question sustains its relevance decades later, securing its place in film history as a bold and unsettling allegory.